In this episode of Community Rapid Response, we are going to be tackling a question by a Bricksforge community member which says, Proforms create or edit post meta action. I'm trying to ask the user a yes or no question using radio wrapper and 2 radio buttons mapped to ACF meta fields, but it doesn't update. This is the same for the date picker fields. I have checked the ACF date format, which matches the Bricksforge date picker format, but it doesn't update. So now let's go ahead and try it out and see if we get the same problem. So here I have a custom post type from ACF called quick demo, and in it I've attached the field groups called the quick demo fields, which just has 2 meta fields. The first one is a radio button called dummy question, and in it I just put 2 choices, yes and no. The second one is a date field, so you can see the date picker, and it's called dummy date. And the return format, I'm using y-m-d, which is what I like to use. So now we're just going to try to attempt it using the update post meta, because I already created a post called quick demo post 1. I gave it the option no and the date. I've given it the date field. So on the front end as well, we can get to see this when I refresh the page. It says the title is quick demo post 1, dummy radio no, and then dummy date is the date. So just showing the date in the regular return format and the other return format. Okay. So now let's go to a page and try to create our form which will update the post meta. So I'm going to drop in the Proforms widget from Bricksforge. Then I'm just going to give it a class name of dd-CRR just to make the text bold. You'll have seen me talking about it in my previous videos. So now we just want 3 fields or 4 fields. First, because we're updating the post meta, we need to add a hidden field for the post ID, because we need to be able to retrieve the post ID. So we have that field. Under general, I'll now call this one like I've mentioned, avoid using post ID as the custom ID and using post title. So use something else. So I can use something like maybe dummy-ID, and the value is, I'm going to be using the URL parameter to get the post ID. So just search for URL parameter, and the parameter return value is going to be ID. Okay, so this is going to be my post ID. Then the text, this is going to be the post title. So for that one, I'll say dummy-title, and the label will be the post title. The value, we'll use the Bricksforge dynamic data tag, which is usually at the bottom somewhere, or just search for it. I'll search for post title and the one from Bricksforge, because that one allows us to put the post ID. So this is the post title. I'll put colon. Then I need to get the URL parameter. So URL_parameter column ID. Okay, save it. Then we don't need the email field. The next 2 fields we need are the radio field and the date field. So I'll search for radio, choose the radio wrapper, and I'll search for date, choose the date field. So this is the dummy date and dummy question. Okay, so for the dummy question, let me put the custom ID as question. This will be the dummy question. Okay, and the default value for this one, I'm going to be using a cheat. There'll be a video coming out showing you how I use the cheat, like that is using dynamic data. So I'll go ahead and delete this nestable element, because we can't actually query the ACF fields. One way you can do it is using the option for ACF array, but sometimes it doesn't work for me yet. I'm not sure why. So that's why I just stick with dynamic data. So with that one now, I'm going to use dynamic shortcodes notation. So let me just go ahead and copy it from my other screen and paste the notation there. And I'm just going to replace two things in this notation, which is basically where I wrote ACF colon field. So the first one, I'm now going to replace it with the field name. For the radio button, I called it dummy underscore question, I believe. Let's hope that's right. Copy that. At the end, there are two places where I used it. Okay, so let me save this and see if it works. So let me go to the front end now. Okay, and I'm going to put the ID. So ID equal to, what's the ID? The ID of my dummy post is, okay, this is the dummy post. It is this value. Copy that. And then I'm going to paste it here. Okay, so yeah, we get our question is working. Yes and no. And then the answer is no. So that's working. The last one is the date, the dummy date. Let me put that below it. Okay, so for the dummy date, I'll put the custom ID as date, the label as dummy date. Okay, and the value, we're going to be returning our ACF field for date. So I think I called it dummy date, but we need the ID. With the regular Bricks dynamic data, we can't put the ID, so we need to use the Bricksforge version, or I can use the dynamic shortcode version, but let me just use the Bricksforge version. So I'll search for ACF, the one from Bricksforge, choose that. The field name was called dummy underscore date, and then colon, and then the ID is the query parameter, so that's URL underscore parameter colon ID. Okay, save it, and let's see if it works. So come to the front end, refresh. So it says, okay, yes, because I've not, let me see if it's working. Go to the date and choose the return format should be Y-M-D. Save it. And let me see if it's working. I'll refresh. Okay, yes, so it's working. So it is 2024, December 31st. This is the post title. As you can see from the example, the title is Quick Demo Post 1. The radio is no, and the date is 2024-12-31. So everything is being pulled in correctly. Now let's go ahead and do the update post meta action and see if it updates. So come back to my form and I'll come to the pro form, go under actions, remove the email. What I want is the update post meta. Okay. Then come to my update post meta, choose the source to be ACF, add item. The post ID is my hidden field, which is the dummy ID. Then the post meta name, which you can find under ACF. The first meta name is called dummy underscore question. Let me paste that in here. And the value is from my form field. Then I'm going to choose, the value is the question, okay? The next one is, I'll just duplicate it. The other one is just called dummy date, and the form field is the dummy date. Okay. So for both of them, because the radio field is only having a retrieval of one option, which let me even go ahead and show you how it displays on the backend. So I'll use the demo shortcodes. That's one thing I like about dynamic shortcodes. It can help you to visualize how the output is. So I'll look for quick demo post 1. And it's an ACF field. This is the return format. So it is returning a value for the radio field. Unlike the checkbox, which returns an array, the radio field returns a single value, which is yes or no. So we can come back to our form, and if we like, we can now choose that the update type should be replace value. Then you can choose, okay, don't ignore it for hidden, because there must always be a value. Same thing for the other one. So both of them, update type, you can choose replace value. Okay, and then we save it. So the other thing we might want to do is the update post itself. So under actions, because of the post title, we want to update the post title. So I'll say update post. Then under the update post, the only thing I want to update is the post title. So the post ID first is the ID from my hidden field. Then, okay, I want only the logged in user. Okay. Then the post title, FX, is my post title. Okay. That's all. Save it. Now let's go ahead and check on the front end if it's working. So I'll come back to my form on the front end, refresh it. It contains the ID, which is the URL parameter. So now let's go ahead and change all of these fields. So let's say instead of quick demo post 1, I want quick demo post 2. Dummy question, I'll say yes. And the date, let's say the 1st of January 2025. Okay, and the last thing I need to do, but let me first submit it and refresh. See, we get quick demo post 2, yes, and January 2025. The last thing I forgot to do is to add an action for page reload. So reload, so that it reloads the page after a successful submission. Okay, so now let's go to the actual post and see if it actually did the work. Refresh, see, quick demo post 2, the dummy radio, yes, and then the date is the correct date. So yeah, that shows that the update post meta is working for those two fields. So I'm not sure what the exact problem is, but if you follow the steps, which I've shown here, it should work for you. If it doesn't work for you, then let me know. You might have made the mistake of trying to use the URL parameter directly in your post action. That will not work. You have to put it in a hidden field first, then use that hidden field as the post ID for your update post and update post meta. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.